Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first Comic Book Curation Live. And I am joined by my, so far, longtime partner, Inquisitor 8.1. Say hi, Quiz.
Hi, Quiz. And you mess it up right out the gate, man. Right out the gate.
What?
We're the bad comic curation.
Right. We are bad comic book curation because we're joined by bad comic reviews.
Hello.
There he is. Represented somewhat ostentatiously by Galactus, but I'm willing to accept it for the meantime.
There's nothing wrong with Galactus. You know,
No, not a damn thing. He eats worlds, but it's how nature works.
I've never been a fan of Galactus, but that's mainly because he's in a whole bunch of comics that I usually don't read. But that's okay. I know of him.
You're just fat shaming him. That's all.
I am. You know, a lot of those planets go straight to his hips.
They do. He's got a lot of exercising. That's why he's such a tall guy.
Yeah.
Does a lot of cardio in his ship.
Well, it's funny that you say that you don't read a lot of comic books that have to do with Galactus. We'll fix that in the course of the stream that we're doing here today, hopefully. Mm-hmm. This is the first one, so we're not expecting many viewers, but maybe we'll get retroactive reviewers. You know what I mean? Or retroactive views, people coming back and watching after the fact. That's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for.
Well, Mustafa's here, and Lucky Pop-Tart, and Deco.
Oh, yay. Cool. Welcome,
so guys. All the cool kids are here.
Yeah. Nice to know we got the minion support. That's very nice. And so we had talked it out what we were going to do beforehand, format and all that. It might alter as time goes on, but for the meantime, we're going to cover a little bit of comic book news. We're going to pitch some comics that you should have been reading or should have read to each other. Something interesting. Hopefully there'll be ones that the other ones of us haven't read, but we're going to fail with bad comic book reviews because I believe that he's read like most of the things that there are out there. So we'll try and catch something he hasn't read though.
All the daily uploads, the Bad Comic Reviews has read quite a lot, and I'm aghast. I'm shocked at the sort of library that you just have just in your videos alone,
and the sheer variation in it. It's like, okay, goes from one to another. It's pretty cool.
The secret is impulse shopping.
I already do that bad enough with Warhammer, dude. I can't do it with comic books.
Yeah, man, you just go in and be like, all right, I have this much in cash. I'm gonna blow it all. I don't need to eat this week.
Food's for the week. Comics last forever.
As long as the paper lasts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the crappy ones, you could just eat them.
Yeah.
Wood pulp.
Has anybody ever heard of, speaking of news stories, I'm looking around at one of the top tier, garbage tier websites, bleedingcool.com. Okay. What is 9 Worlds Geek Fest? You guys know about that?
No, I've never heard of
it. Like, what is this? Has got to be like the SJW Fest. Assimilation and identity in Star Trek is one of the panels.
Seriously?
Yeah. Policy and administration. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What is the name of this?
It is called 9 Worlds Geek Fest. Rich Johnson himself wrote this article, so you step back. And
okay, from August 10th to the 12th at 2018 at the Novotel London West. Join us for 3 days and nights of discussion, workshops, activities, performances, and DJ sets. Meet the creators, fans, and academics of your favorite books, films, TV shows, games, and comics. More cosplay, crafts, sciences, humanities, and the culture and creativity that underlie them all. Oh my God. It's a social justice comic book convention. Holy shit.
Yeah. Like, see what I mean?
Dude.
One of the panels is the politics of activism in Marvel Comics.
Oh, God.
Hold on. Get the description. The quest for justice is a perpetual feature in Marvel Comics, with the Avengers and X-Men seeking to set the world to rights on a grand scale. But what happens when they fall short or seemingly benevolent activism crosses the line into fascism? We'll be taking we'll be talking about direct action groups like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, the Champions, and the individual friendly neighborhood heroes taking care of the little guy in their corner when the big teams won't step up or down to meet these challenges. Direct action groups like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Holy shit. Do you want to know how much they charge for a weekend ticket? Like
yes,
a weekend?
I do.
£129.
Holy fuck.
Dude, that's like $250, isn't it?
They have the audacity. Well, we're the pound is actually really weak right now, but let's see here. 139 pounds. Hold on. I know exactly how to do this. Oh,
just as a quick thing, the politics of activism in Marvel Comics, the panel is one person named Jamie. That's it. Just Jamie.
Yeah,
well, that's the most androgynous name possible.
It's close to $200. It's $193.
Ooh,
damn. Hey, will you give me a wrench in the chat so I can throw the link in for the chat?
Oh yeah. Hold on. I'm displaying my professionalism. Give me a second.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. It straight up is just a social justice convention, social justice comic book convention. That's ridiculous. I wonder, like, the amount of people they get to go to this. It can't be big.
Well, there's a lot more SJWs in Europe than there are here, though.
Yeah.
It seems that the infection has spread a little more, it seems.
It's not surprising to me that's that they're talking about it on Bleeding Cool. Of course, they give them the ad space, as it were, the free ad space on Bleeding Cool.
Apparently, it started in 2013 too.
Oh, that makes me sad.
What makes you sad?
The fact that this is in existence, I guess, that people need a safe space at a comic convention.
People need a safe space at a social justice comic book convention. Well, yeah, I guess male feminists are a little rapey.
A little? Wow.
So the
thanks, Polly.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, Hammer's here. Holy shit.
And Reject.
Hey, Reject, how's it going? I just noticed right above it, because Politics of Activism was what I wanted to read, but I didn't notice right above it is a panel, Where Next for Afrofuturism, discussing the legacy of Black Panther, because of course, right? With the huge success of Marvel's Black Panther film, mainstream audiences have been introduced to Afrofuturism, though they know not what it is. The panel discusses the impact of the impact of Black Panther, Marvel's first Black African hero. It also looks at the ongoing renaissance of Afrofuturism and asks what's next, discussing the creators in art and tech, as well as different media, including video games.
See, when I hear Afrofuturism, it sounds like a hairstyle.
Yeah, I don't. So the other one that caught my eye, other article that caught my eye up on Bleeding Cool is Captain Marvel should lead an all-female Avengers, says Angevine Lilly. Let's
Captain Marvel shouldn't even be a thing. I have extremely strong opinions about Captain Marvel, and probably would alienate some people. So yeah, just skip me.
The opening little blurb here, the one paragraph summation says, and I'm reading as written. With the dust of Avengers Infinity War and the awesomeness of Ant-Man and the Wasp settling down, eyes are turning to the upcoming Captain Marvel film and the promise of a possibility of an all-female fronted hero team farther down the MCU line.
Farther down?
Yeah, this is garbage tier editing. They meant further down, but in talking about an all-female team, they typoed to father. That's priceless.
Oh yeah, well, I'm absolutely certain that an all-female team would definitely have some daddy issues.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that anyone involved in this scenario, including the writer, has some daddy issues.
That's great. Well done, Marianne Butler. But that's who wrote it. But I don't. Again, I place so much blame on editors. It's kind of your fucking job.
I blame Freud and his slip.
I don't know. Like Ethan Van Sciver was reading articles, and he's always pointing out like editing mistakes, and that and Umbrella Guy with that attack on Jeremy that they from The Quartering, for they turn him out to be the hostile actor in the situation. And
well, he was standing there being all standy.
Yeah, and they
standing there menacingly
with his back turned to his attacker. Yeah.
Clearly he was being disrespectful by turning his back to someone, and at the back of his head looks super punchable because of all the Nazi-ness aura surrounding him.
Well, the article starts by saying, I don't endorse violence except in very specific circumstances. And then the article goes on to describe him as the actual aggressor in the way you should understand it. The history of Nazism, why Nazis are bad, why, and I'm quoting here, if you call me a fat, lazy, sweaty cunt, I don't need to be your friend. And it's like, Jesus, the language in that article. And it ends with, yes, it's okay to punch Nazis. And it's so pro-violence in the way that it's coming across, really, in its advocacy of, yeah, you can go ahead and punch someone if you don't like what they've said on their fucking YouTube channel or whatever. They end up taking it down. But it's like, again, where's the editorial control? Because somebody said, okay, go ahead and post that. That represents our website and what we want to put out there.
I don't think there's a lot of editorial control on a lot of these. They just say, here's an upload code, just knock yourself out.
Is that what you think's going on? They're just so desperate for content. They're just posting whatever their writers who are working for free are sending them.
Would you be surprised?
Started off as a blog, didn't it?
Say again?
Yeah.
Bleeding Cool started off as a blog, so the dude that's running it, he just doesn't care. He's getting the clicks.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. That article wasn't on Bleeding Cool. It was on
Comic Crusader.
Comic Crusader.
Oh, this is the Comic Crusader one. Okay, yeah. I thought it sounded familiar.
Yeah, they parted ways with her. She resigned from the sound of it because they took it down because it was, incitement of violence and probably could get them sued for defamation. But
can you resign from an unpaid position? I guess you can.
Was she unpaid?
I assumed. Like, what are they paying them with? Like magic beans?
See, that's the thing is, like, I actually was ruminating about this at work today. I was all like, man, these people, these crazy, these lunatics, okay, have my dream job, okay? These people are writing for Marvel Comics. These people are doing art for DC Comics. What gives them the audacity to think that they can just do whatever the fuck they want with these long-standing characters and just like be straight up not giving a shit about about their source material like this?
Well, the stuff that came before is white colonialist patriarchy, and we have to deconstruct that and fix the character. We got to get rid of some of the toxic masculinity from all the violence in there.
I don't know, man. It infuriates me because these people should be fucking kissing the earth, thanking their very the very earth that they walk on, that they have a job like this. That they don't care.
These aren't comic readers, though. Most of these people never read comic books before they got the job. They were Tumblr artists or some other form of digital art, and they've never had to work for it. They don't particularly like the characters. They never had an interest in it. They just got the job because they'll work cheap.
Or free. Like, seriously, I view it a lot like everyday feminism. Like, it's just like their contributors are for free because they're looking for exposure to hopefully get a paid job somewhere.
Yeah. And a lot of the writers want to do. Yeah, they're activists, or they want to be screenwriters, or, it's a stepping stone job. They don't really care about the characters, and they don't like how the characters were to begin with, so they don't care if they completely destroy them.
You don't mean like Heather Antos used Marvel as a stepping stone to a higher paying job, do you? That's not what you're referring to.
It may be implied.
Like, dude, she went on to esports. Like, okay, I got a question for you. Is Heather Antos less qualified to be a media manager for esports or an editor at Marvel Comics? Which one is she less qualified for?
Yes. But see, now she's an editor-in-chief over there, so if she does that job for a year or two, she can come back and be a full-fledged editor at Marvel or DC or Dynamite or Image and continue to meddle in the affairs of nerddom.
You know, I mean, we talked about that before. Like, she'll be back to comics. There's really no doubt in my mind. It wasn't a permanent move for her. It's just resume building that she's up to, in my opinion. So let me see what
it just infuriates me, though, man. These people, they've been given a gift, and they're just spitting right in the face. It's frustrating.
Did you hear the things that ABC is doing around the falling ratings of the Academy Awards? And this relates to comic books in kind of like an odd way. Did you hear some of the changes that they were thinking of making?
No.
Yeah, like popular movies or something in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shorter runtime, limiting the acceptance speech times of the celebrities accepting their speeches, or
because that's not going to be a meme or anything.
And then, like just said, the big one is most popular movie. So it's like, stop nominating shit that only 10 people have seen.
Yeah, well, this is more their selection process than the fact that they give awards for movies. It's the fact that people nominate crap movies that nobody watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about some World War I nurse that found a horse and fell in love and bandaged it and they lived happily forever after. No, I don't give a crap about that.
That movie was touching. I laughed, I cried, it became a part of me. Don't hate. And I would suggest never allowing Natalie Portman to introduce any awards ever again, because every time she gets up there, she says something stupid as fuck. And now here's the 5 male nominees. Like, shut up.
Oh, okay, that okay. I was like, what are you talking about? And then you're like, the 5 male. No, okay. Oh, I remember.
That's not the only one. She's a big #MeToo person, and donate to the fund that we've started to help out women with #MeToo. Like, in what way? How? What are you talking about?
See, I am shocked now that Marvel haven't made a Femme Thor movie and put Natalie Portman in it, because she's already played, the character that would become Femme Thor.
No, Chris Hemsworth's contract is almost up, so you can look for that. They said changes are coming with more female characters. That means they're going to bring those back. And since Jane Foster's still alive in the comics, they can return to that whenever they want.
Oh, Natalie Portman leading a movie? I mean, she's so emotive and full of charisma and energy when she talks on screen.
Well, I think that if they do that, they're going to have Kristen Stewart play Beta Ray Bill, and it'll be the most deadpan movie ever made.
Oh my God, Kristen Stewart! Yeah, if there's any actress that could compare, I think it would be Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, they'll have like a 10-minute scene where they're just staring at each other, and it'll cut back and forth, and eventually their faces will blur into one.
Well, I was gonna say, Kristen Stewart, the only emotion she can convey is mild disinterest.
Yes, and everything she says should start with, "Dude."
Yeah.
Like that slightly stoned, dude, I think we're in trouble.
Thinking about it, in the era of like not just passable but really good CGI, yeah, man, Beta Ray Bill could come to life. That'd be cool.
Hell yeah.
Like that big weirdo horse head he has, like that. It looks stupid as fuck if you just put some rubber horse head on an actor, but if you did it CGI, it might look cool.
Right? And he just got off that film of World War I with that nurse. And just galloping forward into the new dawn.
Didn't what's his name?
Wait, Riley Dennis got a movie contract?
That's enough from you. So, did not what's his name forge Stormbreaker rather, Beta Ray Bill's Mjolnir in Infinity War already? Doesn't Thor already have possession of it?
Yeah, that's technically Stormbreaker. So
One more time, Polly. What was that?
Okay, you know how Thor has
No, the hammer. The hammer's name. One more time.
Stormbreaker,
No, the other one.
Stormbringer,
No.
Mjolnir, Okay, by all means, tell us how it's pronounced.
Pronounce.
It's Mjolnir.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
No one cares. It's a dead language.
No, it's I have to bust Polly's balls whenever he mispronounces stuff.
Yes, apparently my pronunciation is not up to where it should be.
I'm terrible at names too. People are always correcting me, and I'm like, I don't care. Whatever.
It's a shtick between Polly and I. Come on.
This is about comics. It's not about fucking diction. Let's just stay on.
Yeah, save the Vanity Fair shit for later, British guy.
Mustafa brings up a great point. Listen, Mr. Cosplay, I don't want to hear about how I say things, all right?
Right?
I'm just pronouncing it the way it was pronounced in Japan, and it's originated from Japan.
Yeah,
so.
they also pronounce things like English.
English, yes.
Costume is pronounced a specific way in English.
There is no one who's working hard on their costume for the weekend con.
You know, I'm very offended. I worked very hard on my costume.
Fucking douche. So one thing that we want to do, I said earlier, is pitch comics to each other, and I want to hear what Inquisitor has in store for us first. Convince us that whatever paltry literature that you've been reading is worth us picking up.
Oh, okay. So now we're getting like that, Polly. I see.
As I understand, it's from a pretty geeky genre, but
it is. It's very geeky. It's not from the big two. It's not even from the big six. American publishers. This is from Black Library. Now, the thing about it is, comic books aren't just a sort of medium, a popular sort of medium that American publishers or Japanese publishers, manga, whatever, blah blah blah. It's a wide and varied sort of medium. Visual art told through sequential panels can be found anywhere and everywhere, and very much so the case now with other things, with popular sorts of fiction. They make comic books out of it. And as my name would suggest, I'm very much into Warhammer. Warhammer have their own publishing arm called Black Library. And this one is a comic book out of Black Library. It is called The Redeemer. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. Essentially, the story is about this guy. What was his name again? Hey, let me go one panel in. Clovis of the House of Cawdor. He's essentially a mad preacher.
Are we going to get a screen share, or do we just have to stare at your avatar?
I have screen share. I'm screen sharing right now.
Oh, well, I'm not live.
Are you not? Yeah, you're not even looking. You're not even looking, Polly.
Oh, well, hold on. Let's present on you. There we go. Go ahead, sir.
There you go. Yes. So this guy, he's from a somewhat noble house, but they live on a hive world. And hive worlds are essentially gigantic city worlds. Like the entire population of the planet is in the interior of a city. The entire surface of the planet is a city. And this one in particular is called Necromunda. Now, Necromunda, in terms of the tabletop, is its own tabletop war game. It's a skirmish game, actually. It's not a full-on war game, where gangs within the city's underhives vie for control and territory and so on and so forth. The Redeemer actually heads one such gang of fanatical zealots who believe in the divine province of the Emperor. And so their natural enemy are the mutants and the heretics, both of which make a lot of appearances within this comic book. His main enemy is the leader of the Horned Rat cult that lives under Necromunda.
The Horned Rat cult.
Yes, they have their own god, the Horned Rat.
Well, they were last in line the day they were handing out gods, weren't they?
Well, I'm not convinced that it's not just like an extremely convincing chaos demon that's just corrupting them into the ways of chaos. So, yeah, it's a really damn good story. It's only 4 issues, but it's also fairly old. It's from 2002, I believe.
Are these like 23-page floppies?
Yes. Let me just see here. How many pages is this? Yeah, it's 33 pages, but there are ads. So, yeah, it might be around 22 pages.
Thanks for displaying that you got that comic through legal means. That's great. Good job.
Well, I have a PDF is it a PDF? No, a CBR copy, but I also have a physical copy of this.
Okay.
Great paperback.
You are so absolved, sir.
I subscribed to Inferno back in the day, so I've got a whole bunch of those magazines too. Inferno was the name of the magazine that they actually published all of the comic book media for Warhammer. I miss that. They used to put it out every month, and it was a lot. It was really cool, but they stopped doing it.
I saw the few pages from it, and I'm a big sucker for classic heavy inked art. You guys know that, because digital art is so flat by comparison when not, inked with any kind of depth. So, yeah, I'd read it. What about you? You down to read that there, Bad Comic Reviews, or do a review of it even?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
So the what do you have for us there?
Why don't you go first? I'm having a little bit of a technical issue here.
You're having a technical issue. Okay. I am fairly certain that one of you will have read this, but I doubt the other will have. As the Marvel Universe has a really big cosmic aspect to it, with cosmic characters and a whole hierarchy of interdimensional power, and it's wildly creative. Dates back to Kirby himself. A lot of the designs are just, I don't know, almost disco. They're so strange. I'm going to recommend a character that's been a long time favorite of mine, and people mention kind of in passing, but nobody ever mentions them that I've noticed as one of their favorites. And that's, hold on here. Just get my screen share up. Silver Surfer.
Good old Silver Surfer.
I'm pitching Silver Surfer Volume 3, Number 1. Now, there's like 2 other volumes before this. One a little bit longer lived, and then a short-lived one in the 70s. This is when it came back in the late 80s. As you can see, there's big old Galactus behind Silver Surfer and his current herald, Nova. And featuring the Fantastic Four. I mean, just the cover just screams this is from the 1980s, right?
Yeah.
It's just a great story. I would highly recommend it to anybody who wants to read and get into the just the cosmic stuff. It's a great primer for it, and it's number 1. You can't go wrong with it. It's a longer than normal issue. Basically, the story is that Silver Surfer was a herald of Galactus. Galactus is the world eater. He goes around and scouts out planets for Galactus to eat and makes his job easier, basically. And Silver Surfer, to save his own world that Galactus was about to eat, volunteered for this service. So that's like the great tragedy of his character. He can't go home again. He's no longer one of his people, but he has all of these cosmic superpowers. He's granted the power cosmic as Galactus does. Eventually, Silver Surfer leads Galactus to Earth because it's teeming with energy. But he meets the Fantastic Four, and he sees the people of Earth, and he meets Frankie Ray and this woman that he kind of falls for. And he's like, I can't let Galactus eat this world. So he stands up against Galactus. Don't eat this world. And all these things happen. And what ends up happening is Galactus goes away, but he punishes Surfer by imprisoning him on Earth. Okay, you want to be here? You love this planet so much? Then you will never leave, Surfer. And he creates an invisible shield around Earth that won't allow him to escape. That's where Silver Surfer number 1 starts. All that background is told excellently through sequential art, better than I just did, and it's about how Surfer eventually escapes planet Earth and what Galactus does to him accordingly, and how he meets up with Galactus's current herald, Frankie Ray, who has now become Nova, the woman that Surfer fell for before, and it becomes this ongoing storyline between the two of them, and the antagonism between Surfer and Galactus, and the Fantastic Four, the ones who help Surfer get off the planet. It's a great presentation of the Fantastic Four that you don't really see in the movies. And it's, as we've talked about, the Fantastic Four, damn, they are hard to transfer to the screen well. They work better in the comic book universe. So yeah, that is my pitch. If you want to read into the cosmic stuff and get a great Galactus story, you cannot go wrong with Silver Surfer Volume 3, number 1.
Okay, so I got one quick question here. I am not up on Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I never really read them too much, but why is She-Hulk there and not Johnny Storm?
Oh, good question. He went off for a little while, and She-Hulk came in.
In the 70s and 80s, they did a lot of swapping of him out. They introduced a robot called Herbie because they were doing a cartoon for a little while.
I remember Herbie.
And they didn't want kids setting themselves on fire trying to emulate the Human Torch. And after a while, they figured out, well, that's not really going to happen. So they did a rotating cast. Like at one point, Ben Grimm became a normal human. Excuse me. But Miss Marvel, or Carl Manvers, eventually became the Thing for a while. And that went on for like 2 years. And so she was Rocky and covered in bricks. And she replaced him on the team. And then he became the Thing again. And they both were on the team. So they have rotated out the cast several times through that era.
Who seems strange to me? To me, the iconic, Fantastic Four is Reed Richards, Johnny Storm, Sue Storm, and the Thing.
Well, some of it was sales were dipping too. That was John Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four at the same time this issue came out.
And it'd been running since like 1961, so they were kind of like, "Hey, let's." You would have really thought it was weird when they tried and they called it the New Fantastic Four, and I'm trying to Reed and Sue left, and it was what's her name from the Inhumans, wasn't it, that came in?
Medusa.
Medusa, and Ben Grimm becomes Spiky Thing. Remember, he was all his rocky surface was now all spikes, and I think Human Torch was back in at that point. It was shit got wild.
There was a little while where they had like Ghost Rider and Spider-Man and a couple other people as like the New Fantastic Four. I think that was in Freedom Force. They did that.
See, that's really odd to me too, because I mean, Spider-Man is his own thing. I've seen Spider-Man go for the Fantastic Four for help, dealing with Venom. He's gone to Reed Richards for a sonic cannon so that he could deal with the symbiote and stuff like that. But I've never heard of him actually being part of the Fantastic Four. That seems odd.
It's mostly one-offs, things like that, short-lived sales gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they've rotated through several cast members before.
I've had a sneaking suspicion for a long time, and I may be wrong about this, but you see the way Nova's head is here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that that's where Rob Liefeld got the idea for literally 3/4 of his female characters' face masks.
You give him a lot more credit than I would.
You don't think he read a Silver Surfer comic ever and saw Nova?
No.
I don't know. It's if you read through Rob Liefeld, like his Bloodstrike and Bloodguard and Night Ripper, all the female characters are all, tight
Night Ripper
suit from top to bottom, incredibly well formed, and their face masks have a head like this. It's like he liked the look of Nova and never stopped liking it.
I suppose it's possible. He could have just looked at the pictures.
So do you have a comic for us?
Yes, I do.
All
Let
right.
me attempt screen sharing without doxing myself here.
All right.
Better not be porn.
Well, we're going to try not to do that. So. All right, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is the Dead Hand. This is an Image comic from a guy named Higgins. This is the writer. I can't pronounce last names, so I'm not gonna try with anybody else. But this takes place in a small mountain town with these two former spies. And they are effectively just running the town like a normal, average, everyday town, but it's got a really deep, dark secret that's about to be exposed by idiots. So they're trying to protect this secret that they've got going on. And it's very plot heavy, but it's very interesting because it's actually a really cool story because like the kids in the town don't know what's going on and they're the idiots that are screwing everything up. And a hiker wanders into town in the first issue, and they have to deal with it. And you can guess how a couple of ex-spies deal with a hiker wandering into this small, secluded town that only one train line goes to, and it uses a very specific track line that no other train in Russia has.
You've caught
And
my interest, sir. I want to read that.
It's amazing. This guy here on the cover, he is going to find the hiker because they were friends. He's a MI6 operative, and we're following him and them in issues 4 and 5. 5 just came out. It's going to be collected into a trade paperback here shortly. And this is one of the kids, and all the kids are trained in like martial arts and stuff like that. So it's
pretty interesting. See, there's
I really liked it. I thought it's a really well written book because there is a lot of action, and we find out at the very end of the first issue what the secret is. Am I still sharing?
not anymore.
Okay, good.
But I will unpresent you.
Okay.
It reminds me of I'm trying to find it. Who published this? It was Top Cow that published it. It's Matt
Really?
Hawkins, Brian Hill, Isaac Goodhart, and Betsy Gania. Oh, it's Image. Image is the overall publisher. Is the comic Postal. Have you heard of this one?
I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
It's actually pretty good. It follows the main character has Asperger's syndrome.
Oh.
And his mother is the mayor of a town, and the entire population of the town are criminals. This town is a haven for criminals. And so like they're being paid off they're paying off the FBI. Like there's an agent that stole a whole bunch of money and they're keeping it hidden for him. In exchange for the FBI's non-investigatory nature of their town.
You can call it. It's just Chicago. We know.
Yeah. It's really, really good. I would highly recommend it. But yeah, the Dead Hand reminded me of that.
Yeah, once you see, if I told you the main plot of the story, it would literally ruin everything that comes after issue 1. So I highly recommend checking it out. It was. Once you find out the reveal, you're like, no way. And it got really good because you don't understand it. It opens with this guy, Carter, this blonde-haired man who's a spy in the 80s and the Soviet Union's collapsing. And he uncovers this, and then it cuts to the present, and he's like a cop. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Oh, excuse my language.
No, that's fine.
So, yeah, it was really interesting. If you read issues 1 through 3 together, it really has a real fun impact, and it's just been a great ride. I just got issue 5, and I'm going to do my review on that tonight. Hopefully have it up tomorrow, but I cannot praise that book enough. It was so much fun to read. I haven't been that excited about a comic in a long time.
Okay. I'm going to definitely have to check this out.
Yeah, you said the trade's coming out soon, the collected trade?
Yeah, it's supposed to be out in a month or so.
Cool. I'm down.
I'll have to look it up.
Hashtag move the needle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really heard anyone talk about it, which really kind of annoyed me because it is so good. I think one person reviewed the first issue and kind of gave it a pan, and I was like, "What are you talking about? This book's great."
Yeah. I mean, I saw a woman on the cover. Is she a strong, independent woman that don't need no man, or is maybe that was it?
She's a badass spy. I suppose she doesn't need a man, but they don't make her out into.
Is she body positive?
No, she's actually pretty hot and normal.
Okay, does she at least have a feminist agenda? Well,
she's a total team player too. Which
now you know why the reviews work the way they did.
Yeah,
what's to talk about?
I don't know that there's something to those comics that aren't necessarily about superheroes, but like have some political intrigue. I think that's actually kind of a really interesting sort of avenue that you don't see explored a whole lot. So it's always interesting to come across those.
Yeah. Well, what got me was like the main guy is a comic book fan, so when he's out being a spy, he's got a uniform and everything. And it looks really comic booky, but he's just a badass assassin. And I normally buy superhero comics. That's what I normally read. But because so many of them are garbage, I've been branching out a lot more.
You know, speaking of hashtags, Tim Doyle is never fails to be a source of entertainment. Did you know that he's behind the Government Accountability Project with their alt-gov patches?
Are you serious?
This is his pinned tweet, okay? I'm very proud that we were able to raise over $11,000 for the Government Accountability Project with our alt-gov patches. Note, we still have some left. If you want a set, and it links to like, because he runs a printing service, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there you go. Nothing like cashing in. And it's like the patches are all like, you know, resist and rebels and alt gov with like a fist going up, like it bad hombre national park, like it. Wow. It's good that I haven't been blocked from this guy's Twitter account, or I wouldn't be able to read these, at least openly. So of course he's also continually retweeting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like, because this is like his new superhero, right? And he retweets her saying, just like catcalling, I don't owe a response to unsolicited requests from men with bad intentions, and also like catcalling, for some reason they feel entitled to one. Okay.
Wow.
All of that came out because Ben Shapiro challenged her to a $10,000 debate, like offered her $10,000 to debate him.
Yeah, well, she doesn't seem like she really knows how anything works. So it's pretty much like stepping on an ant for him.
It would be. I mean, he's a fast talker and a skilled debater. You've seen him do that, and he's knowledgeable. So it's she's none of those things. Like, so,
but she has crazy eyes.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, think about it. It's like, I will debate you, and then she says no. And he's like, okay, I'll offer you $10,000 to debate me. You see what's going on there. She's a democratic socialist, and he's being sly with the money, you know, being a dick, right? And she responds to it just like catcalling. I don't owe a response to unsolicited requests from men with bad intentions. His only intention is to expose how completely ignorant you are of all of the issues that you pretend to represent your constituents on.
But to be fair, she will win in the bikini competition.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I bet he's really hairy.
Sorry, guys. I am having internet troubles, and I am very, very angry with Comcast. What did I miss?
We were talking about Tim Doyle.
Oh, good old Timmy.
Yeah.
Timmy. Oh, Dead Hand Volume 1 comes out October 3rd. I'll put a link in the group chat.
Okay.
Sweet.
Collects 1 through 6.
Yeah, you got to scroll through 6 tweets at the top of at the top of Tim Doyle's page here to get to anything that has anything to do with comics or printing.
Well, he seems to have a lot of free time on his hands.
Get this one, okay? The Green Party is a grift, a con. Don't fall for it. Vote and vote blue. It's the only way to stop Trump. Like, dude, the guy who's a grifter and a con is calling the Green Party a grifter and a con. And it's like, it's like I want everybody voting. Like, you want people voting against whatever will bring down Trump. Don't act like this is some kind of republic value or democratic republic value that you're putting forth. You're on some Trump derangement syndrome, buddy.
Did you see Alyssa Milano's tweet about how the Green Party people were Russian bots or Russian operatives?
Yes, I did. That was fucking great. It was there's no way there must have been Russian meddling involved. Like, oh fuck.
Russian meddling. Oh my god.
And
is that like a go-to excuse for some people, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Alyssa Milano? I mean, what are you doing? She senses that Russian meddling, and her words. There's no way that this many votes would have went for the two. Let's keep in mind, because we don't want to get too far from the comic book thing. But when people say Russian meddling at this point, 90% of what they're attempting to refer to is some Facebook ads were purchased that influenced people to vote for Trump or vote for the Green Party. That's the meddling.
Mm-hmm.
Or robocalls went out. You know what I mean? Like phone calls went out, like with advertisements. That's the meddling that they're talking about.
The Russians must think that we are the biggest morons on the planet, that we're upset about the most limited, weak efforts to influence our election. Like, they're upset about this? Really? Why don't we do something real?
Yeah,
The reason I enjoy going to Twitter, because we're talking about comics here, like not really politics, but I mean that is comics to a large degree, and that's why it's SJW Marvel 2.0, and that's why Comicsgate is a thing, because these fuckers just won't stop. Like, it's in the comics, it's in their tweets. The people that are following them on the basis of them being a comic book writer are minimal compared to the amount of people that are following them based on the politics they spew 8 times out of 10 when they tweet something.
Yeah, well, the sales number reflect that. I mean, look at how bad their sales are. And most of them have way more followers than they have sales.
Yeah.
They're doing it for, internet PP touches.
I still love that DNC phrase so much.
Dude, that's the phrase my dad used to use. He talks a lot like my dad. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going through like Tess Fowler's and Michelle Perez. I logged out of Twitter so I can actually see her account because she's got me blocked, even though I've never tweeted at her once. Same thing with Tess Fowler. Mm-hmm. I haven't been to, and just all of their stuff is just politics and trans stuff. I mean, I guess if you're a trans person, it makes sense to be tweeting about trans stuff. But I mean, when that's your one-dimensional identity, it just becomes a little. Do you talk about comics outside of this? Like, outside of the fact that you're a trans person writing comics?
I don't think they do. I don't think they have personalities most of the time. That's why they have to talk about what they are, what they look like. They're just boring people.
Now it's my turn to bring up my favorite DNC-ism. They don't human very well.
Right. I don't. Like I said, I'm just looking at their stuff, and it's like I'm not going to repeat a lot of this because it's all complaining about what happened in Ohio. Like the Ohio elections with the Green Party spoiled it if people hadn't voted for the Green Party, and it's like, but you guys complain about like it switches so fast. Like we need more than a 2-party system. We need a multi-party system. # walk away. Oh, everyone voted green. Oh, you fuckers. Like, God damn it.
Well, that's the problem is no matter what, you can't win because they think these people should have voted for the Democrat, but the Democrat didn't run well enough to draw them in. You should have just voted blindly. And that's the same thing with the comic industry. They want you to buy their books regardless, and you should just buy it because that's what we told you to do.
Let me ask you this question.
Buy it or you're a bigot.
Exactly.
How much should the real world, like the world we live in, impede upon Earth 616 in Marvel Comics? Like that was nerdy as fuck, but you guys get my meaning. Like
if it's done well, it doesn't matter.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, they used to insert politics in a limited way, like Captain America fighting the Nazis. It was war propaganda, but it was done effectively for its time.
Right.
And I've seen political books do well. Like The Dead Hand has some political aspect because it does involve the Cold War. But if it's done well and handled with a little bit of subtlety and maturity, I don't have a problem with it. They want to talk about fighting terrorism? Cool. As long as the story's good, I don't care.
Actually, Chaos is in chat here. I got to pay better attention to chat, especially when I'm running the stream. Jesus, my professionalism is shining through. Because it's just because you're trans doesn't mean you have to talk about it all the time. Yeah.
True
I mean,
story.
well, I mean, we're over on the Minion stream, and Platty's on there, and Chaos is on there. They're both trans. It will come up when it's like topical, not like it's not the topic. You know what I mean? Like it
exactly.
It's like the review that is somebody graffitiing and getting their
I think he's helping
ready.
I'm so high right now.
That or he's got an industrial sized can of spray cheese. What's going on over there?
I'm priming models.
You're priming figures, aren't you?
I am.
Like an addict
I'm
over
huffing paint in my bathroom. Believe it.
Oh my god. This is like the lowest end stream ever. I love it.
Hey man, I got shit to do.
On that note, we're running up close to the hour mark, I think, and I wanted to do some other things, but we'll save it for the next tab. And I want to do some Yellow Flash style secret late night streams anyway when we're bored and like hanging out. You know what I mean? Like
fuck yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I've been wanting to do stuff like that for a long time. I've been thinking about doing like paint streams on my channel late at night, but like this kind of thing, talking about comics, that's also good too. I'm always down for that sort of thing, man.
Yeah, there's always stuff to talk about, and fucking I have actually broken out one of my long boxes, which I haven't done in I don't know how long, because they were like, you know, I say in storage, but they were just kind of like piled on top of each other, sitting there in the storage room. So I broke one out and I'm flipping through it, and I'm like, you know, they're all polybagged, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah. I want to talk about TMNT before there was a cartoon.
Oh, that was such a good run too. I really remember those. Those were good.
Eastman and Laird somehow made 4 mutated turtles and their rat sensei seem deadly serious and dramatic. Like it was.
Yeah.
Dude, is that they didn't really even give them too dramatic of a funny personality in those comics either. Not like they did in the cartoon. And
no, they were just like a Daredevil parody.
Yeah, and but it was good.
Coming out at night, fighting the Foot, in the Foot with their it was like a secret war between them and the Foot army, and the
Foot were the hand, and the turtles were just a Daredevil knockoff.
Daredevil, but split into 4 people.
Yeah, they just wanted to make it weird. And all the spin-off ones, have you ever looked at the ones that tried to imitate that, like adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters?
Yeah, and preteen dirty jean kung fu kangaroos. Yeah,
and there was a gerbil one. I forget off the top of my head. I had a whole bunch of them.
I just remember that they were based off of the Samurai Pizza Cats. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I'll say this: there was a big black and white revolution at the time, right, in the '80s, where it's like cheaper comics to produce. Because they weren't being colored, they're just being inked. Smaller operations, guys were penciling and inking these and sending off their art from their living rooms and stuff. by mail because there was no internet. You know what I mean? So it was the black and white revolution got real popular. And what survived other than one of my favorite comic books of all time, Usagi Yojimbo.
I was gonna say Usagi Yojimbo is gonna be coming up.
I'm a big fan. Like Stan Sakai took it seriously, did it seriously, and for fuck's sake, he's still making it. That's awesome. And it still sells.
Well, it's literally called Rabbit Yojimbo, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's not really. I mean, people called it a ripoff of TMNT, and it's like, no, it's more of a ripoff of Akira Kurosawa. Like, if anything, you know.
But there were a lot of books around that time. You had Gru the Wanderer and Cerbus. And Cerbus went on forever.
Yeah, and Gru, like the similarity between Gru and Usagi is clear. You know,
They obviously ripped each other off quite a bit. But the black and white revolution back then was really something to behold because they had to do it by themselves, and they thrived pretty well for a long, long time. In pre-internet days, that's saying something to be able to reach an audience of anybody.
Yeah. It was really interesting. I remember going to my comic shop and finding a whole bunch of like weird indie titles that were all black and white, but they were always really interesting, and they were always in like the newsprint paper stock. So it was like one of those things. I'm like, man, this seems like it's so easy to get tore up. Is this book even gonna last? I still have so many of them.
Yeah,
they did hold up pretty well. That's why I kind of want them to go back to newsprint, bring the prices down.
That's an interesting point. How much of the bleeding right to the edge glossy paper, because edge bleeding is more expensive than if you allow for a border, and gloss is obviously more expensive, and thicker paper, and then the color richness that they're using is of course more expensive. The pixelated dot art on newsprint, hey man, if your stories are better, give me that and I'll take it with a fucking smile.
Malibu revolutionized printing on at least mediocre newsprint paper back in the early 90s, and that's why Marvel bought them, was for that technology, because they were publishing Marvel's books for a while. They were actually going to them and saying, hey, we want you to print our books because you have better digital technology.
Yeah, the fading colors and stuff, right? The way they could do that, yeah.
If you look at the way Alterna's doing their books, they're on newsprint, pretty low-end newsprint, honestly. It's like flyer inserts that you get in the newspaper, and they're only $1.50. So if you want a good book for $1.50, I mean, I could pick up all their titles for issue 1 of Fantastic Four, which was a ripoff. Don't buy it.
Yeah, I saw your review on that, and it was almost painful to sit through, man.
I was going to ask that he tell us what he thought of Fantastic Four #1, but you can go to Bad Comic Reviews channel. Link will be in the description. It's not currently, but it will be, and you can check out his review of it. Daily reviews. No, you trying to put us out of business with our like occasional reviews that we eventually get around to doing? What the hell?
Once a month. It's if that.
You got to work with the algorithm. I mean, I have 17 videos recorded right now that I have to edit.
Oh, fuck you.
You should see the stack of crap I have yet to go through. But I'm also doing some like vintage stuff so that I can put them in advance. Like I scheduled some stuff out in December so that I can start. If I miss a day or I get sick or something, a video will still go live every day. I'm trying to get caught up on that.
Yeah, see, I think this is the thing, Polly, is consistency. We just need to record a whole shit ton of stuff.
Yeah. It's not like I don't know what I need to do.
Discipline is better than motivation, man.
Yes, sensei. Yeah, no, but we while we are recording on a Thursday, yesterday I was feeling a little sick, and Quiz was having ongoing Comcast problems, which he's having tonight, which is unfortunate. So we're
on my birthday of all days too.
Oh yeah. If everyone wants to wish Quiz a belated happy birthday, feel free to do so. Hit him up on Twitter, annoy him, harass him. Because anyone who harasses on Twitter is automatically an alt-right troll, so be careful what you say.
Oh, I harass on Twitter, so you're punching nassies at that point.
Yeah. Oh man, the as I was just one last little quick thing. Doyle, Fowler, they're all just talking about I can't believe that Twitter's not kicking off Alex Jones. What the fuck? I deal with hate all the time. Is this why Twitter is so full of hate? Because Jack won't step up and do something. And it's, guys, remember, comics, printing, your job is comics and printing. Do you even watch Alex Jones? What do you care? Did you even read his tweets? What do you give a fuck about the water filters and brain power shit he's selling? Anyway.
Right? Although I would buy an Alex Jones comic book.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, especially if like his main nemesis is Chunk.
He's fighting the globalists, and they've hired Chunk and Anna Kasparian.
And Chunk's final super move, his desperate gambit, is to turn into a buffalo and charge Alex Jones.
Yeah, while denying the Armenian genocide. Yeah, I'd read that.
So would I, dude.
That was the best story pitch ever. That was.
It's better than Fantastic Four #1. More happens.
I was gonna say that there's an actual story instead of 3 small vignettes that don't go anywhere.
He turns into a buffalo and charges. Oh man. Okay. So what I was getting at is, though this is on a Thursday, we'll usually be doing it Wednesdays at 10 Eastern is our selected time for the time being, I believe.
10-ish, apparently.
10-ish, yes. We hope our professionalism will shine through weekly, meaning be close to on time.
Whatever, we keep people guessing around here.
So
keep people on their toes.
So how is it that DNC ends all his videos? He's like, so remember, like and subscribe.
Thanks for giving the super chat and we don't
have one.
Patreon and the Indiegogos.
Yeah, the Patreon and the Indiegogo. Remember, you're funding original content. So yeah, go fund some Comicsgate stuff. Like and subscribe our video. And as for
give me money on Patreon.
And as for the super chats, we're preemptively thanking you for the point where we're monetized to do so. How about that?
Yeah, so give us likes, subs, and views so that we can actually get monetized. That'd be great.
I like it because we're not democratic socialists here. We actually like money. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you know what we're going to do with our money? We're going to turn around and buy comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's support your local comic book shop and ours by giving us super chats.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we should close it out. Any closing thoughts, anyone?
Don't read Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Read more comics, but good ones.
I'm going to have the same closing thought every week. Support your local comic book store by buying used collected editions from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They're great stories. It's what I'm doing, and I'm loving it. Don't give Marvel your money because move the needle. Fuck them.
Yeah. Buy back issues.
Yeah, buy back issues. Buy collected editions. They're used. You support your local comic. They're cheaper. Unless you're buying like rare ones. There's so many back issues that are cheap. The old stories are fantastic. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, find small local comic book conventions. They happen all the time. They go to like really small rural areas too. And those places are treasure troves for finding those old back issues.
There's so much stuff that I slept on from back in the day because I had limited funds. Well, I still do, but like much more so back in the day. Man, I'm reading X-Men Inferno. I'm reading it's it's stuff I'll talk about in future videos about, like, here's what you should have been reading, like, because I should have been reading it too. It's awesome. All right, so We'll close it out on that. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming, both of you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.